Welcome back to the High Tempo Sports Podcast, episode 55 this week. We have a special episode today, just like every episode. But
every episode's a special episode with us.
But I mean, this one is another episode, just kind of like how it was on Wednesday, that we've been looking to do for a long time now, as NBA free agency has finally started as of yesterday. Today, it is Saturday morning. By the time that you're listening to this, there's going to be a lot of stuff that we don't end up talking about today that happens. So,
like a Fred VanVleet signing, probably, maybe.
Chris Dunn just signed a 2-year deal with the Atlanta Hawks, by the way.
That's a great pickup.
2-year, $10 million. But we're going to get to the free agency signings and everything, and we also are going to be doing a draft grade for every team, as the NBA draft was on Wednesday. I'm rocking the Justin Herbert jersey right now, but we really don't have a lot of football news today, just because not that much has happened. We have a couple different things, but not a lot, and we're also just going to be going over pretty much all the major signings. I mean, there's going to be a couple that is just like, sorry, I didn't care to say that. I don't know. I'm trying to think of one that just doesn't matter, but I can't think of any.
I can't think of any.
Mo Harkless just signed with the Heat.
Exactly. There you go.
But yeah, first off, I want to get into the news. The first thing is something that really just bums me out, and I know it bums Easton out as well, and that is Klay Thompson, man. Just tore his Achilles the other day. The day of the draft on Wednesday morning, it came out that he got hurt in practice, and we weren't going to find out until Thursday whether it was serious or not. But I think the Warriors knew, as they decided not to make a trade to trade for a star because, Klay Thompson is out. So we find out on Thursday that he tears his Achilles and he's going to be out for the entire season. I mean, this is just awful.
It's heartbreaking because we've been talking about it for a long time. Really excited to watch Klay Thompson come back and ball.
Haven't seen him in a year.
It's going to be 2 years next time we see him, and he might not be the same Klay.
Exactly.
Not many guys come back from
this. It's a different injury,
this.
too. It's not because he tore his ACL the first time. This one is an Achilles, so it's just like now both of the, he's just, his whole entire leg is messed up now.
And not a lot of guys come back the same after 2 injuries like this.
I mean, those are 2 major injuries.
They're considered
especially
they're
for
the biggest ones
players.
in basketball.
Yeah.
I would think.
Probably
like the worst.
Yeah, ACL and Achilles. I would probably say
that's
so
not
too,
like extreme, like bone coming out of the leg.
Right.
But I'm this, like, I saw it on TV and like my heart, or not on TV, I saw it on Twitter actually. Like my heart dropped. I was like, not Klay.
Yeah.
Like I've been talking about watching the Warriors and how excited I am. It's gonna be weird for the Warriors now because the Warriors the last few times, except for the 73-9 season, have kind of gotten to coast through the regular season. You see Steph pulling up from wherever on the court. They're just out there having fun. This season, if they're trying to make a run, I don't think it'll be a lot of fun basketball.
I mean, they'll still be having fun,
but
it'll be fun to watch.
Like, they'll have to play extremely, extremely hard. I get that. They're in a tough conference.
Yeah, I mean, the West was already tough, before. I mean, it's not like they weren't trying. I mean, they obviously were trying, but it's just, I get what you're saying, though. It's going to be a lot harder to win 60-plus games. I mean, I know they're playing 72 this year, so it's a little different, but yeah, that was the first thing on the news. Klay, our thoughts are out for you, man. I really hope that you can recover and be the same player you were before, because I miss watching Klay play.
Me too. I'm nervous. I am nervous about him returning.
Yeah, same. Next thing on the news, the Toronto Raptors have announced that they will start the season in Tampa Bay, Florida, or in Tampa, Florida. This is, if you don't know why this is happening, is because of, the restrictions with the international. They play in Canada, obviously different country, so the COVID restrictions and everything are different, and it's going to be difficult for travel and everything to happen with going out of the country.
Well, Canada actually came out and said the Raptors aren't allowed to play.
Well, I think they said they're not allowed to have teams coming in and out. Like, they were allowed to play there, but like, who are they going to play? Yeah. So pretty much they had to find a spot in the U.S. to play, and I don't know if it's going to be for the full year or not, depending on, if we get a vaccine or anything, but I know that like Louisville at one time was a prime candidate. I think Kansas City was in the talks as well. But
I'm surprised it wasn't somewhere like north still, like in like the UP.
Yeah,
or something.
now I mean we the North in the UP.
Why not?
They could have just put them like, I don't know, in like Pittsburgh or something.
Yeah, somewhere up there. I don't understand. Like, could you imagine the change?
The
of
UP
scenery?
is even farther north than Toronto.
Yeah, I guess.
Toronto's right by Detroit.
Yeah, I guess. But like, Kyle Lowry is gonna have to adapt to a warm
I think he'll be okay with it.
I know they'll all be okay with it, but like it's a big change. It's a huge
it
change.
is. It's a huge change of scenery. I mean, they're We the South now. I saw that. But yeah, I mean that's just kind of a now we're gonna have 3 Florida teams in basketball.
This might be one of those permanent changes like we saw with Seattle going to Oklahoma City.
Yeah, that wasn't because of a move thing.
Yeah, it was
that was New Orleans. New Orleans moved to Oklahoma City for like a month and then went back. Yeah.
You're right. I thought it was Seattle and the Hurricanes.
Like, are they gonna be the Tampa Raptors?
No, they're gonna stay in Toronto.
That's what the New Orleans did. They were the Oklahoma City Hornets when they moved to Oklahoma City.
They might have to be, I guess. Which I don't know. But we have to have a team in Canada.
Well, yeah.
So like, no matter what, Toronto.
They
will
might
have
just
a
be
team.
called the Tampa. No, they won't. There's no way.
They still
will.
be the Raptors.
Yeah.
But poor Toronto fans, like who live in Toronto. Like that's your only team in Canada. Like I would
have to root for the Pistons, man.
I guess. Go Detroit.
Next thing on the news is obviously Wednesday we came out and said that Drew Brees was going to be out. He actually got placed on the IR yesterday. But Taysom Hill is going to start the game at quarterback over former Buccaneers quarterback Jameis Winston. Taysom Hill has kind of been known as a guy who doesn't really play quarterback, even though he is quarterback. I mean, he's a utility guy in baseball, but in football.
Yeah.
I mean, he plays tight end, he plays running back, he comes in and does the Wildcat. He's on the punt team and the punt return team. He's a blocker. He does it all. And now he's going to start at quarterback. So I'm really interested to see how he does on Sunday.
Me too. And they're not playing. They're playing the Falcons. So it's a great.
And the Falcons, I'm pretty sure, have the worst defense in all of the NFL right now.
And they have the 28th pass defense, and I don't know what else. But like, they are not. It's a good tune-up game to see if Taysom Hill should be the starter until Drew Brees comes back. Because I've now heard that Drew Brees might.
Well, no, I've heard that he can come off of the IR week 14 at the earliest is when he can play again.
I didn't know you could recover from that kind of injury so fast.
I didn't know. I mean, I know the ribs thing. Like, it sounds weird, but I know broken ribs like isn't actually as serious as you think it would be. It's just a matter of taking contact. Like you just have to get used to taking contact again. The lung thing though the collapsed lung thing is a little different, but yeah, I mean, and the thing is, trying out Taysom Hill is not that big of a deal because if he starts to play not that good,
you have
Jameis Winston. I mean, I know that he, threw a lot of picks and everything, but he still was a starting quarterback and led the league in passing yards last year, or touchdowns. He led the league in passing touchdowns. So, it's not, and then you could still put Taysom Hill out there at sometimes to run 2 quarterbacks.
It's not the end of the world.
No, it's not at all. And I do think it's smart to let Taysom Hill give him the chance first, and it's just like, all right, this doesn't work. Jameis, let's go.
Yeah. Let Jameis come in the fourth quarter and clean things up, or second half.
Yeah. The next thing is the Seattle Seahawks beat the Cardinals on Thursday night, so that means I now have to root against the Cardinals for the rest of the year.
Sadly.
Just as a Lions fan, though.
There's no hate towards the Cardinals, and I hate rooting against them because I like the Cardinals.
Me too.
I like watching
that
Kyler
Hail Mary
Murray.
win was like, of course, now they went off that Hail Mary, so I don't know. If that wouldn't have happened, we'd be sitting in a way better situation.
Yeah, exactly. But now we have to root against the Cardinals, and that's no fun.
No
fun. I like Kyler Murray.
But, I mean, Russell Wilson, by the way, played fantastic on Thursday night. I was playing against Tyler Lockett and Carlos Hyde in fantasy, and they both scored touchdowns, so I'm down like 40-0 right now already. Not a good start.
That's a bad start.
A couple more things on the news here before we get into free agency. The Michigan quarterback battle reportedly was up for grabs this week. Jim Harbaugh said that for today's game, the quarterback battle was up for grab. Joe Milton obviously struggled last week against Wisconsin, and McNamara, I believe is how you say his name. He came in and played pretty decent for Michigan. So Michigan plays today. I do not know what time they play Maryland. Or no, they play Rutgers. They play because State was supposed to play Maryland, but that game got canceled actually, along with the Clemson and who was Clemson playing? Florida State. Clemson-Florida State game also got canceled. That's who it was. But yeah, I assume Joe Milton is probably still going to start, but
I know Jack has been following this what is his name?
McNamara.
Something like that. He's been following him for a long time and really, really likes him.
Really?
I thought he should be starting over Joe Milton at the start of the season. And Dylan McCaffrey, for that matter. You're struggling over there.
Yeah, I'm just fixing it. And
I don't know anything about him.
Yeah, I don't either. Obviously, I'm not a big Michigan guy. But last thing on the news before we get into free agency kind of involves free agency. The big trades that have happened before free agency started earlier this week. One of them was Bogdan Bogdanovic getting traded to the Milwaukee Bucks for DiVincenzo, Ilyasova, and DJ Wilson. Well, Bogdanovic pretty much said, because it was a sign and trade, Bogdanovic is a restricted free agent. He pretty much told the Kings, like, hey, and the Bucks, like, sorry, but I want to test out free agency. Like, I don't agree to this sign and trade. If he was under contract for a year, he has no right to say that. The Kings have all of his rights, but he's a free agent. He can do what he wants, and he did not agree to this sign and trade. So he's gonna enter restricted free agency, and the Bucks just don't get him now. So, which is just crazy.
But for some reason, I don't know what might have happened, but the NBA is investigating it.
Yeah,
and they're like, I don't know what fishy thing could have went on though.
Because I mean, they agreed to it and it happened. That's the thing. Like at some point, Bogey had to have said like, I agree to it.
Or maybe the Kings didn't think he had to agree. Maybe they're like, he's restricted. We're just gonna re-sign him.
But he has to agree. They have to match whatever another team offers.
And that's
first.
what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Like they're saying, no matter what, we're matching you, and then we're trading you. So I don't know. But maybe if it's in another contract that he's got a no trade clause, right? Then do they have to match that part of the contract?
I don't think he would get a no trade clause though.
Well, if he asks for one, so he doesn't have to go play there.
Not many guys get a no trade clause though.
I know,
like,
you have to be big time, but
and it just doesn't really happen either. Even like big time players don't really get no trade clauses. But yeah, I don't know. It's weird.
situation.
But and then Bogey is now reportedly talks about signing with the Lakers and the Hawks.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, Jagger's asking me about DeLon Wright. He says, is he any good?
He's
better than Ariza.
Yeah.
But yeah, let's get right into free agency, man. So the first thing that I have on here for free agency was Kelly Oubre getting traded to the Golden State Warriors. This was after the Klay Thompson news. The Warriors panicking. You know, they need to do something. They get Trevor Ariza for a 2021 protected first. That's pretty much it. They send that to OKC. But it's interesting because the Warriors now, they dipped like super far into the luxury tax, like most that a team like ever has in NBA history. I think like $84 million under the under. They have to that's how deep they're in. With Wiggins' contract and Clay and Draymond and obviously Steph Curry. Now
that's huge because Oubre isn't cheap. He's not a cheap player.
Oubre's on like 14, 15 mil at least. He might be even more than that.
I do really like the pickup though. I love
it fits
Oubre
them
on the Warriors
a lot because now I don't know who's going to start at the 2 unless you just move Wiggins to the 2, which you definitely could.
There's no reason
I don't know if they're still going to look to move Wiggins at all, but I mean a starting lineup of Curry, Wiggins, Oubre, Draymond, and James Wiseman with a bench of Eric Paschall and Kevon Looney, Damian Lee. That's a solid team. That's a playoff team.
That is a playoff team,
especially with Steph Curry. You know,
MVP stuff this year.
Yeah. I do think the Warriors aren't done. I do think they're gonna explore because they can't really sign anybody else now.
Yeah.
But as far as trades, I definitely would explore Wiggins a little bit more, see if anything's on the market.
I saw some crazy conspiracy theory about Klay Thompson's injury. Like, now that Klay Thompson's hurt, Steph will come in and play a few games and then fake an injury.
Just like last year?
I mean, he didn't fake an injury last year.
He didn't fake, but he definitely could have played.
Yeah.
He just sat out.
Yeah. But, like, apparently that's what the rumor is now with the upcoming draft class. But because they trade away the protected pick.
I mean, 2 years in a row, though.
That would suck. That would suck.
I don't think they'll do that.
But you get Jalen Green. Or Cade Cunningham.
But still though, just if Steph Curry sits, that squad they have is way better than their team they had. Like, that team is not the worst team in the league.
No.
Not like last year.
No.
Last year, their best player on the court was Eric Paschall.
For part of the season.
Like, because D'Lo was sat a good amount of time, too. I mean, like, they really were not good.
They really went into tank mode.
Yeah.
Eric Paschall. Where did he go to college?
Villanova.
Yep.
But yeah, Kelly Oubre is on the Warriors. Big pickup for them. Where do I have my... so I'm kind of going to go in order here in somewhat order of how things happen. The first thing I have written down here is 2 guys returning to their teams. Goran Dragic and Myers Leonard both re-sign with the Miami Heat. Dragic gets paid 2-year, $34 million, right?
Yeah, which is something we didn't expect to see because we have discussed, I mean, they have came out and said that next year they are pursuing Giannis. Now we see Giannis get Drew Holiday as a partner in crime, kind of, even though Chris Middleton really is the second best player.
But just another guy. I mean,
and I think
adds,
to the Heat, that's them saying, okay, Giannis probably won't be a free agent. He's probably going to sign the Supermax. Let's not waste our whole future on hoping Giannis doesn't sign the Supermax because there's a good chance
and
now.
Waste their chances of being good right now. Like it's not willing to bring guys in
as if they didn't just go to the finals. Like they're not.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I think it's smart to bring Dragic back, though. I mean, he was their best scorer in the playoffs. So
have we? So you mentioned. Never mind. Go on. I was going to mention about us, our free agency destinations and where we think they're going to go.
Yeah,
we haven't gotten one right.
I think I got Dragic right.
Oh, you got Dragic right. I know you did. I had him go to the Hawks.
That's probably it, though. That's probably it. Next, we have kind of a smaller trade. Enes Kanter got traded to the Portland Trail, back to Portland after he was there when they made it to the Western Conference Finals 2 years ago. He gets traded back there for pretty much nothing, I'm pretty sure. I forget what it was, but it wasn't enough for me to write it down. So.
Bag of chips.
Wesley Matthews signs a deal with the Los Angeles Lakers. That definitely adds to their depth.
That's huge.
Dwight Howard leaves the LA Lakers and joins the Philadelphia 76ers on a 1-year, $5 million deal, which is kind of interesting.
That one was very surprising because it came out that Lakers were the only one offering him a contract. And then he came out and said, Laker Nation, baby, not going anywhere.
I know.
And then he leaves. Just kind of
interesting
weird.
For Philly, though. I think it's a good pickup to back up Joel Embiid, for sure. Alec Burks signs a 1-year deal with the New York Knicks. He's one of the better bench players in the NBA. And a big deal here kind of cancels out any more James Harden to Brooklyn rumors. It's Joe Harris signs a 4-year, $75 million deal to remain a Brooklyn Net. What a big-time commitment this is from the Brooklyn Nets. I mean, I think they're showing now that they're going to keep their depth and rock out with it, and I'm all on board for that.
Me too. I'm excited to see Karis LeVert and Dinwiddie in a winning system, or a system that should be winning.
Should be winning, yeah.
I'm excited to see Jarrett Allen. I'm very excited to watch this team next year.
And there's rumors that the Brooklyn Nets are the top suitor for Serge Ibaka right now as well. That's kind of been the rumor, which
that's crazy.
I like that
4.
because you can. Serge has played the 5 the past couple years in Toronto, but I mean you could definitely move him back to the 4 like he was in OKC with Durant.
And he can kind of shoot the ball.
He can stretch the floor. So you play him next to Jarrett Allen. I mean that's just a really good shot blocking duo.
Dude, think about the defensive starting lineup: Karis, KD.
I mean, not the only good defenders really are Ibaka and Jarrett Allen.
But Kevin Durant can. He's 7 foot.
Yeah, Kevin Durant's an above average defender, but Kyrie and Karis are
Kyrie's bad.
Both not very good defenders.
Yeah, I guess. You're still huge.
Yeah. On to some more bigger free agency moves. First things first, this was probably at the time the biggest free agency signing, and it was Danilo Gallinari signing a 3-year, $61 million deal to join Trae Young at the Atlanta Hawks. I was as soon as this happened, I just was like, holy crap, Atlanta's going to be good.
Very good.
Okay, I don't know about very good.
No, I think they'll be like a 4 seed.
I agree with that. I really do. 4
I think
or 5,
I think that's very good. If you're a 4 or 5 seed.
I mean, I don't know though because you think about it,
made the
teams that are still better on paper than Atlanta: Boston, Milwaukee, Miami,
Philadelphia,
Brooklyn, Philly, maybe, probably.
I mean, probably on paper.
The Hawks, on paper, they're all right.
They're all right.
But Gallo is a huge signing for them. I mean, Woj came out and said Atlanta is just looking to surround Trae Young and John Collins and the rest of their young core with veterans that are good, with good veterans.
I'm looking at all their rotations. I mean, you got a guy who I think can step into the league without a lot of what's the word? Like the transition period.
Yeah.
I think Onyeka Okongwu doesn't need much of a transition period in the league. So he's going to step in and be a rotational piece, I think.
That's what I'm kind of confused about Okongwu now because Gallo's going to have to play the 3. He hasn't played the 3 since he was in Denver, which has been a while now.
Ago.
But I guess he kind of played the 3 when Tobias Harris and him were both in it with the Clips, so he kind of did. But
I think we both agree that their rotations are just solid.
Well, what I'm saying though, I don't really get. I mean, yeah, but the thing is, Okongwu now you're committing. There's no way Okongwu starts, right?
No.
he comes off the bench. And that's what I don't get because, like, he comes off the bench now, and it's just like you have, as you're spending the 6th overall pick on a bench guy. Like, I don't know. When you could have went with a guy like, I know Halliburton fell and everything, so something must have happened there. But a guy that you could have got to play the 2 and just, maybe start him over Kevin Huerter and bring Huerter off the bench. I do like Okongwu, but I don't know. I don't like that. I just don't. Now that they signed Gallo and everything, I don't know how. Because now, think about it. With Gallo starting at the 3, that means you have Hunter and Reddish both coming off the bench now, right? Mm-hmm. 2 guys who already have a year on Okongwu, so they will probably get minutes over Okongwu. Now you're looking at like the 8th man. Now they signed Chris Dunn. Chris Dunn is he's probably perfect backup for Trae Young just because he's the exact opposite of Trae Young. He plays defense. So they'll probably play him a lot. I don't know. I don't know how I like the Okongwu fit anymore.
I'm not sure DeAndre Hunter and Cam Reddish affect his minutes just because they're not going to play the same position.
Yeah,
DeAndre Hunter will play
they
the
affect
2.
his minutes though, just because how are you gonna? You got to have everyone's got to get their minutes. Though.
Yeah, but they're going to play the 2 or the 3. Onyeka is going to play the 4 or the 5. Probably the 5.
I understand that, but what I'm saying is, just because they play different positions, like there's only so many minutes to give out.
Yeah, and I get that.
And there's the 6th man is going to get more minutes than the 8th man.
Yeah,
Okongwu is probably only going to get like 18 to 20 minutes a night, which is not the 6th pick in the draft.
Yeah, and I guess when playoff time comes around, he will still play.
Yeah,
they'll probably.
It just depends. I mean, maybe they don't have a plan with Capella in their future. Maybe Capella's a trade deadline guy, or maybe Capella's a 6th man. I don't know.
But look at their 9-man rotation.
I know it's a good rotation.
9-man
rotation.
Yeah,
they got Tony Snell too. I assume Snell will probably play. I mean, just for more wing
in the
depth.
regular season. I'm thinking of playoffs.
Yeah,
I think playoffs they shortened to 9. You have Chris Dunn backing up Trae Young and Kevin Huerter at the 1 and 2.
No, I like the Hawks. I expect that the Gallinari move I like. It's just it's a little confusing.
Yeah. Gallo can play the 3 or the. Oh, I love that. I like that team a lot.
So next is. This one hits home a little. The Detroit Pistons made a couple moves. Early, they signed Mason Plumlee to a 3-year, $25 million deal, which at first I was like, that's all right. It's cool. I like Mason Plumlee. That's not a bad contract either. He's making less than $10 million a year. Like, for a guy like him, that's not a bad contract at all. We signed Jahlil Okafor to a 1-year deal, which that one was just kind of.
Weird.
Jahlil Okafor hasn't played an NBA minute in like 2 years, just because he's just kind of fallen out of the league.
I thought he played like 16 minutes a game last year.
Nah, that was not in 2019, 2020. Like he played a couple games. Like he's just been kind of hurt, and he just doesn't really play. Like he doesn't really fit.
No, he doesn't fit.
He's not a modern NBA center. Like. No. And it just sucks because he is talented, but
he's so talented.
He's a big man that can't shoot and that can't play defense. Like you have to have one or the other. He's a fantastic post player, but nobody needs that in today's NBA. And then we signed Josh Jackson to a 1-year deal, which I am a fan of. Josh Jackson, it was former 4th overall pick. He's from Detroit, looking to kind of revive his career a little bit as he's gotten in trouble with the law and everything, and
just not very good.
And he's just been played in the G League already. He's only like 3 years. He's part of that 2017 class, a loaded 2017 class. But yeah, and then the big one happens. Jeremy Grant signs to a 3-year, $60 million deal with the Detroit Pistons. And then seconds later, Christian Wood agrees to a 3-year, $41 million deal with the Houston Rockets. When I tell you I almost started tearing up when Christian Wood, when I got the noti, because I don't know if you guys knew what happened, but pretty much Christian Wood signed with the Rockets. And it was everyone except for Woj. Woj tweeted it and then deleted it. And I was like, what the heck's going on? And it was like Christian Wood signs a 3-year, $27 million deal with the Rockets.
Which was like
$9 million a year. And I'm just like, why would we? This was before Jeremy Grant, too. So it's like, why would we not pay Christian Wood literally the almost same contract we just gave Mason Plumlee? And then it was like, they came out that Christian Wood is still talking to teams. Like, he has not made a deal yet. And then this happens. And then he just signs for more money. So he was probably just looking to get more from Houston.
So
what's your first reaction?
The first reaction was like pain. I mean, it was just like
pain.
It was, this offseason, me and you have talked about 2 big things: get LaMelo Ball and keep Christian Wood.
Yeah, those are the 2 things going.
Oh shit!
And trade Derrick Rose.
Neither one. Nothing has happened so far that we wanted to. Not that it's been bad, because we have had a really good offseason.
Exactly, and I think we've had a good offseason, but just not getting back Christian Wood And I love me some Jeremy Grant, right? Like Jeremy Grant is I've said that he's going to be a piece that makes a team to a championship team, turns them from a contender to a favorite. He's like one of those guys. But I would have rather gave Christian Wood $20 million a year than what we gave Jeremy. We gave Jeremy Grant $20 million a year. I would have rather gave that to Christian Wood because he's a young player with potential that, he's shown that if he's the number one option, last year in that small sample size of games he put up 35 on Rudy Gobert, a former defensive player of the year. Like, just played fantastic in that short sample of games. And now he's gone, and it's just like that. It's frustrating, Troy Weaver, maybe he doesn't see, he's the new GM of the Pistons. Maybe he doesn't see what the fans see in Christian Wood, I guess. And it is his job and everything, so I can't argue with it.
No.
He gets paid to do what he does, and I'm trusting him because, from what I'm hearing, Troy Weaver's moves that he's making this offseason are smart. I don't really understand how they are yet because I'm not a GM. I don't know all the
ins and outs
and the numbers and all that. Like, I don't really understand that part of it, but
well, then you read about Christian Wood. It might not be such just a money thing. It might just be he didn't like Detroit.
Yeah, I read something about the Christian Wood thing might be a more behind the scenes thing. Like either he didn't want to be in Detroit or Detroit didn't think he was worth the money that he was wanting from them. I do love Christian Wood in Houston, though. Like, I love him next to Westbrook and Harden. Like, I think he fits because he can play the 5. He was playing the 5 after Drummond got traded. And I really do like that fit. I mean, of him in Houston. Like, I'm a fan of that.
Me too. And here's the thing is with the Rockets, all trade talks have stopped. Yeah. James Harden is no longer getting traded.
And I bet those two are happy
right now with Christian
Wood. That with that move. They also, them signing Christian Wood, we pretty much just gave them the keys to sign Christian Wood because us getting Ariza and pick 16 gave them the mid-level exception slot to do that because they got rid of Ariza's contract and Covington's contract, technically.
This might have been in the works for a while now for the Rockets to say, James Harden, Russ, we're going to keep you unhappy here because we've got a move here that's coming up.
I just realized... So you know how when this deal happened, they said it was a sign and trade? This is a sign and trade?
What are we getting back?
What if the sign and trade was just for the 16th pick and Ariza? Right?
Oh.
Right?
Yeah, maybe we already made the trade.
Because maybe the trade already happened because technically us getting Ariza opened up a free agency slot for them to sign somebody in Christian Wood. Not a max guy, but a
big time, a good player.
11 million or
13
something a million. Yeah, that might be what we got, 16, and I would like to get something else, but I mean we don't really have the roster spots for it, and we obviously we did move Trevor Ariza today for DeLon Wright as a part of a 3-team trade that sent James Johnson to Dallas and Trevor Ariza to OKC, but if we got 16 for Christian Wood, I don't know. I mean, I'm so sad that we lost Christian Wood, man. But like I said, Bobby Marks, he's like a free agency expert, or contract.
Guru.
Yeah, he just he's one of Woj's guys. He tweeted out pretty much that Troy Weaver is making smart moves for cap flexibility in the next 3 years. I don't know all the details. If you want to check them out and you understand stuff like that, go check out Bobby Marks' Twitter and Woj's Twitter because they've been talking a lot about how the Pistons are making smarter moves. And I've also heard reportedly that we might be doing a sign and trade with the Nuggets to send Blake Griffin to the Nuggets because we took Jeremy Grant and Mason Plumlee for them, and apparently their contracts are the perfect amount to match Blake Griffin's salary to send him to Denver, which if that's the case, I'm on board.
So it was basically a sign and trade with Jeremy Grant and Plumlee sending Blake Griffin, right? Is that what I'm understanding?
Pretty much. Yeah. If it happens, obviously.
And I like that a lot.
I do a lot. I really hope that that's what the case is because then we free up a bunch of money too.
And minutes.
Yeah, exactly. That's the part that I'm just worried about right now is the minutes part of things because we have a lot of guys right now, not a lot of minutes for them. I mean, there's probably 12 guys on our roster right now that I think deserve 20 minutes a night.
Yeah, and I love one thing I do like is that it doesn't feel like we're wasting the 16th pick anymore on Isaiah Stewart, getting rid of Christian Wood.
Yeah, but we just have a lot. Yeah, but bringing in Plumlee and Okafor, and we have a lot of centers.
Okafor won't play over Stewart, right?
We have Tony Bradley too.
But Okafor won't play over Stewart, right?
I don't know. I don't know.
Stewart's more of a 4.
Nah, he's a center.
He's 6'9".
He can't shoot though.
Yeah, but like
I don't think if you're a power forward, you have to be able to shoot. I don't think you can play power forward and not you're just a center at that point. Montrezl Harrell's a 6'7" center.
Yeah, I guess. And I'm trying to think of Zion can shoot not
Zion
really.
is kind of a center though. He really kind of is.
He did play some center minutes last year.
But yeah, that's kind of all I have for the Pistons for now. Obviously, we're going to talk about them a little more, but that's just all that they've done in free agency so far. I feel like there was something else too that I just am not thinking of that they did. I don't know. A couple other deals though. A couple guys returning to their teams that I didn't really expect to happen. Jordan Clarkson re-signs with the Utah Jazz, 4-year, $52 million. Perfect re-signing for the Utah Jazz, as Clarkson was a huge spark plug for them off the bench last year. Just about Chris Dunn again. Marcus Morris, 4-year, $64 million deal to re-sign with the LA Clippers, which is a big one. Yeah, I mean, the Clippers get a guy back. Oh, I haven't said Montrezl
You
yet.
haven't talked about the Montrezl at all.
Harrell signs with the LA Lakers. I mean, this one is probably, so far, I would say this is probably the biggest signing of free agency, right?
Him and Gallo.
Yeah, him and Gallo. And I think Jeremy Grant really is a big one, too, just because of how surprising it was.
Him not going to a contender, I think,
exactly.
was what surprised everybody.
Just getting a bag.
Yeah.
But Montrezl Harrell takes a pay cut. I think he takes a pay cut. I don't know if maybe his value just went down after his poor playoff performance. But he signs a 2-year, $19 million deal with the LA Lakers with a player option after the first year. I think he took a pay cut, and then he's just going to leave, try to win a championship this year with the Lakers, and then next offseason he's just going to go get paid. Because he deserves probably $20 million.
Oh, I would think so, easily.
At least 18.
I would think so. As a 6th man of the year.
Yeah.
I mean, I would think.
What a backstab from Montrezl Harrell.
Word.
Leaves the Clippers. He tweeted a picture of him in LAX airport just to mess with everyone, thinking he was leaving LA. Nope, he's just going to the other team in LA. Patrick Beverley is not happy about this on Twitter. He tweeted a couple things.
He tweeted some mean emojis.
I know.
Emojis.
He was upset. I don't know. This is just crazy. I did not expect this from Montrezl Harrell.
I didn't expect anything that the Lakers have done this offseason from the Lakers.
Yeah. I saw this tweet. It was from Jay Canada, actually. He tweeted and said, the Lakers turning Danny Green, Rondo, and Dwight Howard into Montrezl, Schroeder, and Wesley Matthews and Danny Green. I don't know if I said him, but is crazy. Which is so true.
Somehow the Lakers, we thought they could only get worse this offseason.
Yeah,
they got better.
Because they only had 4 guys under contract going into free agency.
They got better this offseason.
And they still, they're reportedly trying to get Bogdanovich. I don't know. I don't think they have any money because they used their exception on Montrezl Harrell because obviously they traded for Dennis Schroeder. So I don't know if they have any money left, but them not bringing back Anthony Davis has yet to re-sign with the Lakers, but it's just it's a business move for them to be able to sign players before bringing back AD because they have AD's rights, so they can dip into the luxury tax to bring him back, which is a really smart move by them and Anthony Davis. But yeah, the Lakers are having a fantastic offseason, if not the best offseason.
They're my favorite for next season.
And I didn't think they were going to be because I just figured there was so much room to grow for a lot of other teams in free agency that wasn't the Lakers. Lakers didn't really have a lot of options. They didn't have a lot of assets. Do you think Kuzma is still going to be a Laker then? Because Kuzma's I know he's not he's not a free agent, but he is after next year. That's what it is. But do you think that they're going to try to move him? Because they'd have to move him for somebody that's making similar money to him, and he's not making that much. So
this morning I'm sitting in the shower, scrolling through, and I see the Lakers somehow got better than last year. And I thought, they still have Kuzma on the roster, and there has always been talk of moving Kuzma.
Yeah.
Literally since Lonzo got traded, Lonzo and BI and
just because he wasn't a part of it, because they figured they would do a separate deal, yeah.
And I don't know if Kuzma played well in the playoffs.
He did.
And
he played better than expected. Yeah.
And he played really good defense, which is what the Lakers needed from him. But I don't know. I wouldn't mind a Kuzma move, but I don't mind him staying with the Lakers. What do you think about a Kuzma move?
That's the thing. I don't mind either one. If they don't move him, I think honestly you keep him because I just don't think that they can move him because of the money. Like they would have to do something that's making the same type of deal, and he's not. Unless it's a sign and trade for Bogdanovich type thing, and you send Kuzma to Sacramento, which if that's the case, for sure do it. But the Lakers are looking pretty right now.
They look so good.
I'm loving this free agency, man. It's just I didn't expect it to be this exciting because there's just not that many big names, but a lot, like I said, there's a lot of guys that can turn contenders into favorites.
And there's a lot of moving. Lots of moving going on.
Another move, or not move, is Davis Bertans signing a big-time extension to stay a Washington Wizard. 5-year, $80 million for the sharpshooter from Latvia.
Latvian laser.
Yep. That's what I thought he was from Latvia. Davis Bertans, that's a big-time signing for the Washington Wizards, a team that I'd expect to make a playoff or try to make the playoffs next year. Except John Wall just requested a trade, though. What the heck? I just thought of that. Yeah,
I don't understand why John Wall is requesting a trade.
Why? But I wonder if he realizes like there's not many teams that can take on John Wall's contract.
No,
like the Pistons could
for Blake,
and that's about it. But why would they want Blake?
Yeah, you have Rui Hachimura,
and they just drafted Avdija. So they don't really need another forward.
I like their roster going forward.
I don't get why, especially because they didn't. Maybe if I would get it if they moved Bradley Beal already for like just a pick or something and another young player. But I don't know. Why not run it back, John Wall? And maybe, but obviously something's probably happening behind the scenes that we don't know about.
That is a big thing that this offseason came. There have been so many rumors about the stars getting traded.
Yeah,
Bradley Beal, James Harden, Russell Westbrook, Blake Griffin. All guys who have been trade talks, and none of them are going to happen. None
of them are going to get traded because I don't see a John Wall like the Westbrook and Harden thing. I legitimately did think that both of them were going to get moved. Like I definitely thought it was going to happen. Now I definitely don't.
Their
see
roster is good again.
If Westbrook or Harden gets traded, I would honestly be really surprised. But John Wall. There's no way he gets traded.
No.
Like there's no way. There's no who would. I'm not trying to be rude. I love John Wall. He's one of my favorite players. Who would want to trade for John Wall right now?
Nobody.
Hasn't played in 2 years, coming off of 2 ACL injuries, and is making $40+ million. Like he's a top 10 most expensive player in the league. He's 30 years old. I'm pretty sure. Like,
and does John Wall not get that? Like, the Wizards are going to come to him and say, dude, we tried calling the 3 teams that can take you. Yeah,
and it's just going to cause an issue.
Yeah, we just called 3 teams, the only 3 teams that are even eligible
Maybe Charlotte, like, give him Nick Batum and I don't know,
I'd feel so bad for Wizards fans.
But then it's Melo Ball and John Wall, and that doesn't even work. Like, why would Charlotte want to do that?
The only thing that's good for is T-shirts, because the rhyme.
OKC, maybe? OKC has Al Horford now. I keep forgetting that they have Al Horford.
Oh, yeah, we didn't talk about that.
OKC has, like, a bunch of different dudes that I don't even know right now. No, we talked about that, because that happened mid-podcast on Wednesday.
Yes, it did.
But yeah, like I said, I can't wait for free agency to actually be over, though, just so I know who's on what team, because it's pretty confusing, honestly, right now. Did you see okay, so I want to talk about this real quick, and I'll bring it up, but Steven Adams gets the Drew Holiday New Orleans Milwaukee trade gets expanded turns into a 4-team trade, sending Steven Adams to the New Orleans Pelicans, and then OKC gets George Hill, Darius Miller, and they get a 2023 protected lottery first-round pick from Denver, and Denver ends up being that 4th team because Denver gets R.J. Hampton from the Pelicans, that pick. It's really confusing. Pretty much R.J. Hampton thought he got traded to OKC, and he didn't. He got drafted by Denver, but it was New Orleans' pick, but he knew he got drafted by Denver, and he just he tweeted out, like, man, I was about to be hot. Denver, we're back. And Woj commented back. He was like, you never got moved, RJ. Sorry, I just can't type. He goes, I got to make it more clear, something like that. So, yeah, but Steven Adams gets traded to the New Orleans Pelicans, which is big. Pelicans getting better. Like I said, the West is just getting better. And OKC tagging on first-round picks.
So we just talked about this, like, literally 5 minutes ago, about how Zion is a 4. Zion is now forced to play the 4.
Oh, yeah.
Even though he can play 5.
He was playing the 4 last year. He played the 5, like, just at times. He would play
He might be a 4 that can't shoot. We'll see how it works.
I mean, he can, but the thing is, he can kind of shoot. Isaiah Stewart won't shoot. That's what I mean. Like, he might be able to develop it, but
I don't know.
Yeah, I like Steven Adams, man. I think Steven Adams is, even though he's making a lot of money, he is one of the more underrated centers in this league. Just he is. I'm pretty sure he's like the strongest player in the league. Somebody came out and said it on JJ Redick's podcast, man. Who was it?
Look at the guy.
They said that Steven Adams is like, you can't move him. Like, he is the strongest dude. I think Chris Bosh said that.
Is he the one that caught somebody in midair?
I don't remember.
Who caught somebody in midair?
I'm not sure. No, Saquon did that in the football game.
No, it was he like dunked on. He's like,
oh, really?
the guy.
I don't know. But yeah, I like that move for New Orleans a lot.
Me too.
They didn't really give up much. They gave up George Hill and RJ Hampton technically. Is there any other signings on here that I'm missing that are like important? I don't really see any. Yeah, I mean, like I said, the Pistons made that trade for DeLon Wright this morning. So me and the Easton are talking about the Pistons right now. They have like 16 guys on their roster, and not a lot of minutes to hand out. So I would really like to see D Rose and Blake Griffin get traded before this season starts.
But they have to get traded for picks, or else you create more of a money.
Yeah, or else you just because
issue.
like, what if you trade D Rose for like 2 players? You know, then
Yeah.
it's just like, oh, great. You know,
Some of these guys aren't going to play.
I expect the Pistons aren't done yet for sure, though,
No.
because they keep bringing in guys, and they trade for DeLon Wright, who they had Trevor Ariza, a guy who I didn't think was going to play for them, and now they trade him for DeLon Wright, a guy who definitely is going to play. So it's just like, okay, that makes things even worse. I would prefer to get a shooting guard because we don't have many shooting guards at the moment, or a backup point guard if you do trade Derrick Rose, obviously. But I mean, the Pistons right now are a playoff contender with their current roster. I'm not saying they're a playoff team, but they are definitely a playoff contender.
With D Rose and Blake.
Which I don't like.
No.
I don't know if Blake Griffin like plans on not starting the season or something if they don't trade him. That would probably be more ideal just because we need to create minutes, or maybe we just have a schedule of guys sit like this week these guys are sitting. This week these guys are sitting. So every guy's still get minutes.
Because there are 3 guys who have to get minutes on this roster now.
I think the 3 guys that have to get minutes are Sekou, Killian Hayes, and
Sadiq Bey.
I'd say Sadiq Bey over Isaiah Stewart. That's what I was thinking.
That's
yeah.
the 3.
I didn't know if you were thinking that too.
No,
So
Sadiq Bey has
Yeah.
he has to start at the 3.
I don't know if he has to start. I would
I
like
want
him
him
to
starting
start
over Svi.
but I wouldn't mind Svi start. I would be cool with Svi starting.
See, I want
think
Sadiq
Svi-
playing a lot. I like Sadiq.
Me too.
a
I
lot.
mean, you could still play Sadiq 28 off the bench. Do you just want to get into the draft grades? Because I mean, we're talking about the draft. But,
Yeah, we can
Okay,
talk.
let's do it then, and we'll just talk about.
So
Yeah,
you
but
said
there's-
you
There's
didn't.
no other. I'm trying to make sure I didn't forget any free agency things, but I don't think so.
If we do, we're talking about every team, so you'll remember.
you're right.
So you said that you didn't write them down in ABC order.
I did.
Oh, you rewrote them down.
No, I wrote them down in ABC order. Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
So let's start off with the Atlanta Hawks. The Atlanta Hawks took Onyeka Okongwu at pick 6. They took Skylar Mays from LSU, a point guard at pick 50. What is your grade for the Atlanta Hawks?
And even though I like the Onyeka picks, I like Onyeka, I'm still giving them a D+.
Really, a D plus?
Yeah, I don't. It didn't make sense when Tyrese Halliburton was on the board. They needed the 2. It was clear going into the draft that we needed 2, and now it's more clear they got Gallo, who can play the 4 as like the backup 4 for John Collins. Because now Onyeka can really. I mean, he plays the. I mean, he's a 5. I don't like the pick at all, and I don't know much about their second round pick.
I don't either. I gave him a C average, you know, because like Onyeka Okongwu, I like Okongwu, but I really don't like him in Atlanta. I just don't see how it fits. I think it's just a waste of a higher pick to draft somebody that is just not really going to get big time minutes. I feel like, especially when they were talking about making a trade to trade out of pick 6. I feel like there was a lot there. They could have done something different with that pick instead of Okongwu. And them not trading out of it, honestly, is kind of the reason why I gave them a lower grade.
Yep, and that's what I thought too. I thought they could have traded down.
Yeah, definitely.
So for Boston, I gave them a C. I like Aaron Nesmith. I don't like Peyton Pritchard. I think they should have went for a more defensive draft. I know their scoring wasn't great in the playoffs. I get that. But Jaylen Brown did not have a good playoffs.
Yeah, he had a streak. He had games where he played really well and games where he played really bad.
You can't expect that next season. You have to expect Jaylen Brown to step up, and that's not an unwarranted expectation. Like, that's a deserving expectation.
Oh, by the way, Gordon Hayward did opt out of his player option. And I don't know where he's going to go, but that was just kind of a Boston thing.
I don't like Aaron Nesmith on that team, just because I think they could have used a more defensive pick.
I like Aaron Nesmith. He was one of my. I gave them a C+. I like Aaron Nesmith a lot. I don't know how I like him Boston fit wise, but Nesmith is he was one of my favorite like sleeper guys in the draft just because he's a elite scorer and shooter. He is a fantastic shooter, which any team can always just use more shooting. But like you said, I really don't like the Peyton Pritchard pick at 26, a first rounder. I know it's 26, but Pritchard is undersized, not athletic, not a shooter, not a defender,
and
Kemba. You have Carson Edwards too.
Who is Peyton Pritchard?
He is. They are the same player.
Yeah.
And spending a first round pick on him is just like, especially when Boston doesn't have the roster spots for him, them not moving out of these, maybe trying to make a move, attaching these to Gordon Hayward, maybe just moving up in the draft to get one guy. I don't know. I only gave them a C+ because I like Nesmith, or else I would have given them a D probably.
Mm-hmm. Brooklyn. I gave them a C-. I don't like the Shamet move. I don't think Shamet works in Brooklyn. I think they again needed more defense coming off that bench, and Shamet doesn't bring that.
I gave him a B-. I honestly kind of like 19 for Shamet because Brooklyn's in win now mode, and there isn't many guys you can draft at 19 that are going to help you win now.
Mm-hmm.
There's guys that are going to come, like if they would have drafted Saddiq Bey, like maybe, but Saddiq Bey is a potential player as well. But I like them trading for a guy who's going to help them come in and just be good now. Shamet is better than any player that they could have gotten at 19. So I'm cool with it, but I understand the defense thing, but I think that they'll be fine.
At 19,
think about their wing depth right now though. It's crazy.
Yeah.
They have
Shamet.
Karis LeVert, Dinwiddie, Joe Harris.
Don't
forget about him.
2-3.
Obviously Kevin Durant, but
was that big news?
No, it was just something else.
So Charlotte Hornets. I give them an A+. I think they had a perfect draft. I love Melo, obviously. Melo's the most talented player in the draft. They didn't have to trade up to get him. They didn't have to do anything to get him. He just fell because Timberwolves and Warriors kept their picks. Melo is great on the Hornets. I think MJ is going to be, I think that's MJ's first good move ever as a GM. No, he's not
him
a GM.
And LeVar are about to get he's owner.
Exactly,
yeah, he doesn't even make the moves.
But I think he can mentor Melo, even though he might not want to because he might hurt it. MJ's legacy. Vernon Carey, who I like at such a late pick, first round pick in the
32
or second round pick or second pick in the second round.
Yeah,
and Grant Riller, who averaged 21 points per game.
Grant Riller. That's a sleeper pick.
That's a huge. Sure. He is a. I would not consider him a first round talent, but he's a high second round talent.
He was considered when I was looking at it. They said Grant Riller was a first round talent.
He's legit. He can.
He got picked with the fourth to last pick in the draft, which is nuts.
Because I wanted to make sure that this A+ was like a good A+. So I went and watched some of his highlights. The dude can score the rock.
Oh yeah,
and that's what the Hornets need. I don't
think he's gonna play right away. He'll probably be a two-way
unless they move Terry Rozier, which I think they could.
Yeah, definitely. I think they could too, especially with Melo now. I gave him an A. I have 2 A+ on here, so they weren't one of them. But LaMelo is obviously, it's pretty much just because of them getting LaMelo at 3. They came out and said we're gonna draft LaMelo if he's there. I really didn't expect him to be there because I just thought some teams would trade up to 1 or 2 to get him. But LaMelo fell right into their lap, and that's perfect. They take a guy in Vernon Carey who is, I think he's going to play next year, honestly. I really do think he's going to play night one. Like, he's going to get solid minutes as a second-round pick, I would assume. I like Charlotte's draft a lot simply because they didn't make any moves in the draft. They just had good picks for where they were at.
So this is something to be mindful of with the rookies coming in this year. This is the shortest adjustment period they've ever had to be an NBA superstar.
There's no summer league.
They get 3 weeks of training camp.
There's 3 preseason games.
Yeah, they don't have a lot of time to figure out a team out. So don't expect somebody to come in and ball out. Melo, on the other hand, I think will just come in and ball out. Maybe.
Actually, that might be a reason why Vernon Carey might not play right away, just because there isn't that adjustment
quick
period.
Turnaround period.
And there's the no summer league and all that. So next team, though, is the Chicago Bulls.
Chicago Bulls, as much as I hate this is about one pick, and it's Patrick Williams. I'm giving them a D. They really reached for this pick, and I know reports came out after. They were trying to trade down really badly. And so they had to
But
reach. They
nobody
had no
wanted
other
to
option.
trade up, yeah.
Because they're like, oh, you're just going to take Patrick Williams. We're going to force you to do that. We're not
And
gonna
because
trade
no
up.
one really wanted to trade up for 4 because this was just like last year's draft where it ended up being all right, we know the top 3. And then after that, though this pick really reminded me of last year, DeAndre Hunter getting picked at 4. That kind of came out of nowhere. And they're similar players as well. I mean, Hunter's older than Williams was at the time. Hunter was a 2-year player in college. Williams is actually one of the youngest players in this draft.
He's the youngest American player in the whole draft. So I gave him a D because and not that I don't like Patrick Williams. I don't love him, but I think it's just a big time reach. They could have gotten him at 8 or 9.
I gave them a C- because of the Patrick Williams thing. And like I said, Patrick Williams ended up being a guy who apparently a lot of teams wanted. The Pistons said that they were going to draft him if he was there at 7. Obviously, thank you to the Chicago Bulls for taking him, so we didn't have to because I like Patrick Williams. I didn't really think he fits the Pistons that well, though. I was going to give the Bulls a lower pick, but honestly, Patrick Williams really does fit what the Bulls need. They really need wing defenders. Like, that's literally exactly what they need with Zach LaVine and Lauri Markkanen at the 2 and 4. Guys who can score the basketball but aren't the best on the defensive side of the ball. And Williams is going to come in and play defense for them. I hope that he better play right away. Not really. I mean, yeah, I know he's young and everything, but taking him this high, they do need to develop him. But like I said, I gave him a C- simply because it was a guy who definitely wasn't supposed to go this high that they could have traded down for, even though they tried to. They still reached at the 4th pick in the draft. So that's why I went with a C-.
Which is a bad spot to reach at.
Yeah.
If you're reaching at 26, it's a different story.
Yeah, exactly. Pistons reaching at 16 for Isaiah Stewart type thing,
Yeah. So, Cleveland Cavaliers,
Yep.
I gave them a C-. I do like Isaac Okoro. I like him a lot. Like a lot. But I do still prefer Obi Toppin or Denny Avdija on this roster. I think it's I don't think they need a guy like Isaac Okoro right now. I don't think now is the time to get somebody like Isaac Okoro. I think they could have used a scorer like Obi Toppin.
And I think Isaac Okoro would have been, if the Bulls would have picked Isaac Okoro, I would have been like, all right, like I would have been on board.
Me too.
And which is weird because I gave Cleveland a C, just one spot higher than you, because this pick was just like the Chicago pick where Cleveland kind of picked Okoro to fit what they're doing, to fit with Garland and Sexton, but like it's a little different than Chicago because Garland and Sexton aren't like they ain't proven themselves yet. Sexton has a little, like Sexton averaged 20 this year, but like I don't know, they still haven't they picked Okoro to fit them, but like when your 2 previous first round picks haven't really made a name for themselves yet, you still just want to pick best player available type thing. And I, like you said, I definitely think Obi Toppin here would have been the smartest pick. Avdija would have been nice as well, but I really do think Toppin would have been the perfect pick. I like Okoro's game, but at 5 to Cleveland, I'm not a big fan of. So that's why I went with a C.
So next is Dallas.
Dallas, yeah.
I gave Dallas actually a B. For where they were picking at, I really liked their pick of Josh Green. I really like Josh Green a lot. Like, he's one of those guys coming in the draft that I liked. Very good wing defender. I think he's 6'8" now. And he can stroke it. He can really shoot that thing.
He's a good all-around player.
And I think that is what somebody like the Mavericks needed, is somebody who's going to play defense and shoot the ball. And he's super athletic.
He's athletic, too.
He can run the floor with Luka. He won't step in and play right away. I really don't think so. But eventually he will step into that role, I think. I mean, I don't know. I'm not a draft expert, but I like him.
I went pretty high with Dallas. I give them an A-. I really like their draft a lot, getting Josh Green at 18, but their 2 second-round picks are guys that I really like. Tyrell Terry with the first pick in the second round at 31. A guy who was at one time supposed to be like the 20th pick in the draft, point guard from Stanford. He can play the 2, I guess. He's like 6'2", but really is a great shooter, a good facilitator. The defense isn't quite there, and then Tyler Bay at 36 was one of my favorite sleepers in this draft. I talked about him a lot out of Colorado. Just strokes the shot. I mean, he just knocks down the 3. And then trading for Josh Richardson, I really do like. I know they gave up Seth Curry, but I think Josh Richardson is a better fit with Luka Doncic and Porzingis than Seth Curry. Trust me, Seth Curry is definitely a better player than Josh Richardson, but
today's league is about fit. We've discussed this a lot.
It is. It's about fit. And I think that both of those teams, I think that Sixers and Dallas both won that trade. Like, that was an equal trade because Josh Richardson plays defense and is athletic. And next to Luka, I really like him next to Luka. I think Dallas had a fantastic draft, though, with their 3 picks, all being great, and then trading for Josh Richardson.
Denver Nuggets, I went with B-. This is before, I didn't know RJ Hampton was. Is he still on Denver or not?
Yeah.
Oh, he still is on Denver. I don't know
24th pick.
RJ Hampton at one point was a lottery pick. I
Yeah.
still don't like him there. This is another team where I think they could have went defensive. I don't think they need a lot of offense on this roster, especially a ball dominant guard like RJ Hampton. When you've got guys like Gary Harris, Jamal Murray, and Jokic.
Gary Harris ain't ball dominant though.
But he's going to be in front of RJ.
Well, maybe. Will Barton's more dominant than Gary Harris.
Then use Bill Barton.
Yeah.
And I don't know anything about I shouldn't say I don't like Zeke Naji. I don't know anything about him.
Yeah. Zeke Naji's cool. But Denver, I gave them a B. They had 2 first-round picks, Zeke Naji at 22, Hampton at 24. I gave them B just because Denver seems to take like the risk reward pick like the last several years, taking Michael Porter Jr. 2 years ago and Bol last year. And both of them kind of, at least so far, look like they were reward type picks. So taking RJ Hampton, he was definitely one of the riskier players in this draft, I would say, along with like a Cole Anthony and there's a couple guys who dropped. I forget who, like a Halliburton kind of dropped too. But yeah, I mean, I think that RJ Hampton could definitely be a good player for Denver just because Denver has a fantastic development squad. So I give him a B just because getting Hampton, I think that they can turn him into a good NBA player.
I immediately heard a comparison for Zeke Naji. I don't know anything about him. I haven't seen him play or anything.
Yeah.
I immediately heard the Jokic comparison for Zeke Naji.
Yeah, he's a playmaking big. I mean, he's
Okay.
not on Jokic level, obviously.
But Jokic wasn't on Jokic
Yeah.
level when he came in.
Right,
the league.
exactly. And they could turn him into it. You never know.
Next
The Pistons.
team, Detroit Pistons. This one's hard to not be biased.
It really is.
I still only gave them a B+. I think they had a very good draft. I would have loved to see Tyrese instead of Killian Hayes, and I get why they went with Killian Hayes. He's Sekou's best friend from France. Makes sense. Isaiah Stewart, I like the pick. Hindsight, now that Christian Wood is gone. But again, you picked up Mason Plumlee, Jahlil Okafor, and Tony Bradley.
Yeah, but this is about the draft, though. This is
I know.
pre-free agency.
But I do really like Sadiq Bey, and I don't dislike Killian Hayes. I just would have liked Tyrese a little bit more.
Yeah.
And I still like Killian Hayes, so that's why I gave him a B+.
Yeah, I mean, mine's biased as hell. I gave him an A. I when we did our mock draft, back months ago, like when the draft lottery happened, this has been like 3 months ago now, which is nuts. We got to react to that at the end of
Yeah,
this.
we do.
We should, right at the end, yeah. But I said Killian Hayes at 7, and I stuck with that, and it happened. Like obviously, I loved Halliburton. I thought he was the 4th best player in this entire draft.
Follow us on TikTok.
Yeah, and I really liked Halliburton, but obviously something was going on for him to fall that far with all these teams, not just the Pistons. So it doesn't bother me that much. I love Sadiq Bey at 19. I think that's a steal. Getting off of Luke Kennard, a guy who was going to want to get paid this offseason that we didn't really know if we wanted to pay him.
He's a lottery talent. Sadiq Bey is a
yeah,
lottery talent.
Yeah, oh, definitely. Isaiah Stewart is, maybe a little different, but we reached for him for a reason. Like we traded for pick 16 for a reason to get him. And we also got Tony Bradley in this trade for pretty much nothing at all. Just so, I mean, Tony Bradley's a solid player, so we can keep him, remove him. I gave him an A.
Golden State Warriors. I gave him a B. I really like James Wiseman. Don't get me wrong, but I think you could have traded the pick to get a little bit more, maybe a more solidified player in James Wiseman. This could end up being an A for Golden State in the future.
Yeah.
Hindsight 2020. But right now I've got it as a B. I like Wiseman a lot. I'm just not sure it was the best move for the Warriors.
I went with a B+. The pre-Clay injury, I would have given this a probably B-, C+. But the fact that Clay got injured, I think it was a lot smarter to go James Wiseman because you trade this pick for a player that can help you contend now and it's still not being enough to get you over that hump without Clay. Then it's just like you don't have any future assets. So I think this was really smart for Golden State because of Clay's injury, taking a guy like Wiseman. So it's okay. At least Clay goes down. Let's say Clay doesn't come back as the same player. At least you have a young top talent asset in James Wiseman. And I like Nico Mannion at 48. I mean, that's a sleeper pick, getting Nico Mannion that late. So,
I like Nico a lot.
yeah, everybody likes Nico. Houston Rockets, what do you got for them?
I don't know what they got at 52. I don't remember.
They got KJ Martin. They got Kenny Martin Jr., yeah.
Because I wrote down Houston Rockets C, good pick at 52. It's a risk or reward guy. He's either going to be really good
Yeah.
or never see the floor.
I give him a C-. Not a lot here from Houston. They traded pick 16 to us for just to give us Trevor Ariza, pretty much.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, it's just average. Like no really big or bad things happen.
This is another one.
Indiana.
C plus. I don't know what. I mean, I forgot what they got.
They
at
got
54.
Cassius Stanley at 54.
Like what they
a guy
got at
who was
54.
supposed at one time was supposed to be a first round pick.
Yeah, I really like that at 54.
Yeah.
C plus.
Not much. I got a game of C minus simply because they just didn't have many picks, and they had the sixth last pick in the draft. So, not much from the Pacers. I gave them a C minus.
LA Clippers. I give them a C plus. Good draft. Good job getting Luke Kennard, who I think works very well next to Kawhi and Paul George, as he will get his shot off with less space than a lot of the shooters in the league. He's a very good spot-up shooter, and he doesn't need that much room to get a shot off and really help Kawhi and Paul George make it easier to create for them because they're not the best creators. So it makes it a lot easier for them to create.
Yeah. I gave him a C plus as well. You pretty much just traded Kennard for Shamet, which I think Kennard is probably better than Shamet, but not by a lot. They're very similar players. But I gave him a C plus because it doesn't help them it doesn't put them in the driver's seat or anything. Like that trade doesn't put them over the hump at all. So that's just why I gave him a C plus. LA Lakers.
B plus. They got Dennis Schroeder. What a good move for them. I
gave him an A. I mean, they didn't have any picks in this draft. They didn't draft a single person. But they traded pick 28 for Dennis Schroeder. I mean, that is definition of a highway robbery. I mean, Danny Green too, obviously, but like, Danny, after that finals performance, who the hell wants Danny
playoffs
Green?
Performance?
Yeah. Excellent trade from the Lakers.
Yep,
I gave him an A. Didn't even have to pick anybody.
Memphis Grizzlies, C plus. I love Desmond Bane and Xavier Tillman.
Desmond Bane is a sleeper.
Or Xavier Tillman. I like both of them. Desmond Bane can stroke the ball. He shoots the shit out of it. So I really like that for Memphis.
I gave Memphis a B minus. I like Desmond Bane a lot. Xavier Tillman at 35. Xavier Tillman and Jaren Jackson Jr. They're best friends. They have the Michigan State connection.
Best man in his wedding.
Yeah, Jaren Jackson was the best man in Xavier Tillman's wedding not too long ago. That's just, I like that a lot. DJ Augustine signs a 3-year, $21 million deal with the Milwaukee Bucks. I like that.
Oh, I like that a lot, actually. Yeah, me too.
Miami. I thought our next team was the Bucks. That'd be crazy. Miami,
we were close.
Yeah.
Miami Heat, A. Precious is perfect. He can step in and play big backup 4 minutes for you. They got him with what, 18? 12? 20?
Yeah.
Great pick. That's a steal at 20 for Precious. He can step in right away and give you backup minutes. That's 4. I love that pick out of Miami.
I gave him a B. I like Precious a lot at 20. I think that a guy who fell in this draft a little bit. But that was pretty much all they had. I don't really want to give him an A just for the one single pick that they had. But yeah, I do really like the pick a lot, though. I went with a B for them. And yeah, that's pretty much it.
Milwaukee, C minus. I like Jordan Nwara's game, but they don't really do much.
I gave him a C, just average. Jordan Nwara was really good at Louisville, but they had the 45th pick, and then they had Mr. Irrelevant. Sam Merrill out of Utah State was the 60th pick in the draft. Not really just a big deal. I just gave him a C because not much happened for them.
Minnesota.
This one's interesting.
I gave him a C. I don't like taking Anthony Edwards at 1. When you could have traded the pick for a lot more, and you're trying to contend now. You couldn't trade the pick for a lot more because they're kind of their money is all screwed up with James Johnson. And,
he's gone now, but
they have some issues with money. But I think you're trying to win now to show D'Lo and Cat that you can, because these dudes are young. They're going to start to get restless. I think Cat. I don't know. Cat has had issues with being a winner in the past, like with Jimmy Butler.
I gave him a B minus. I'm not a big fan of the Edwards at 1. I like Edwards, obviously. I think he's going to be good at some point, and I think I think he could definitely be an all-star in the league, but like Easton says, it's about the win now thing. You want to surround your 2 young superstars with top talent, not guys who could be good, But the reason I gave them a B minus is because them trading for Rubio. They literally just traded pick 17 for Ricky Rubio, and then they got pick 23 and 28 along with it. So I think that's a super underrated trade. Rubio back in Minnesota brings that he's going to be the 6th man for them. He's going to get 6-7 assists off the bench, be a leader for those young guys, help mentor Edwards and D'Angelo. I like that move a lot, and I like Jaden McDaniels at pick 28.
Me too.
He's an very athletic player, versatile, can play defense, grab rebounds. I like Jaden McDaniels at 28.
Who did New Orleans take?
New Orleans took Kyra Lewis Jr. at pick 13.
I think they should have traded up for Tyrese. I knew I gave him a C because I think they should have traded up for Tyrese Halliburton if they're going to take a guard. Obviously, they didn't know Tyrese was going to keep falling.
It was the pick before, yeah.
But Tyrese is a much better pick than Kyra.
I say Kyra. Some people say Kira. I've always said Kyra.
I mean, he was good, but I don't know. Not my favorite pick in the whole world.
I went with the B+. I actually really like Kyra Lewis Jr. Especially with, I knew that that either George Hill or Bledsoe were going to be gone. Bledsoe is still a Pelican, and I think that he's going to be. But I like Kyra Lewis Jr. I think that they needed point guard depth. I think I had them drafting Cole Anthony in our mock draft because I knew that they were. I just figured they would draft a backup point guard. And at 13, Kyra Lewis Jr. He'll come in and he'll be that. Especially with Lonzo Ball possibly not being there after this season, with him going to be a restricted free agent next year. So we'll see. New York Knicks.
I gave him an A. I love Obi Toppin and Quickly. I can't think of his first name. Emmanuel Quickly. I like him a lot. I think Obi Toppin is a baller. They need a big change of culture.
I'm confused on where you stand on Obi Toppin. I thought you didn't like Obi Toppin.
I like Obi Toppin on the Knicks.
Okay.
I think he's a Knicks player. In my head, he works in New York. He's a stud. He's an athletic player. He's a dunker. It just works.
I also gave him an A. I mean, I think that the reason why I gave them an A is simply because they didn't trade up to get Obi Toppin. They didn't give up anything else. Obi Toppin was their guy going into this draft. They came out and said that. He was their guy. And they decided to just see what happens. Wait it out, because Cleveland was, and Woj came out and said that the only team that was really in danger of them not getting Obi Toppin was Cleveland at 5. And once that didn't happen, they knew they were going to get him. Toppin in New York, I love it. Quickly, a lot of Kentucky guards have done pretty well in the league as of lately.
And there has been a fair share of bad ones.
I mean, not that many though.
I mean, the Harrison twins.
Yeah, but I'm talking that were top picks. Harrison twins were both second round.
Were they? I thought one was
first round
17.
picks. Nah, I don't think so. But De'Aaron Fox, Jamal Murray, Tyler Hero.
Yeah, those are 3 big
Devin
names.
Booker.
4.
But yeah, I like the Knicks. I like them getting Toppin at 8 was big for me because that was who they wanted and they got him. OKC.
A-. They get more picks.
Yeah.
And more picks. But I don't really like Pukasevsky or Pukasevsky.
Pokasevsky. That's how I don't know if you say it.
I don't like.
I gave him a B-. I like Pukasevsky a little bit. He's the youngest player in this draft, only 18-year-old. He's a 7-foot power forward that can shoot the 3. Perfect for OKC though, just because they're just going to be a bunch of young guys that are trying to, prove themselves, make a name for themselves. Yeah, they got Theo Maledon at 34, who at one time was supposed to be a top lottery pick in this draft. They just got more draft picks. So, I mean, average draft for OKC, but, they only had 1 first-round pick in this one. They're going to have a lot more in the next 5 years, as they have 30 or something like that. So Orlando.
Hilariously, real quick.
Okay.
Sandal and I watched the draft together. We watched up until the 54th pick, Cassius Winston, right?
Yeah.
He was 53rd. He was 53rd.
53, yeah.
There was not a single player that came up that Sandal said he disliked. Not one player. I'd be like, I'm not really sure.
I said Okongwu. I did not like Okongwu at 6.
You didn't like him at 6, but you like him.
I like him, yeah, but the fit I don't like.
Yeah, but we are sitting there and literally I'd be like, I'm not really sure about him. He's not my favorite player in the draft. And Sandal would be like, what? I like him a lot.
I know. Like Zeke Najee when he got picked, I was like, I like Najee.
I mean, every pick. Yeah. I just thought that was funny.
No, it is.
It shows because next few years, Sandal will be able to say for whatever players are good in this draft, he'll be like, yeah, I really liked him.
Oh, yeah.
He doesn't dislike anybody.
I like everybody. Orlando.
I gave him a C. Boom or bust on Cole Anthony. It's one of the two. He's either going to be very good or very not good.
I gave him a B-. Just because, all they took was Cole Anthony. I was their only pick in this draft at 15. I like it just because you already took the chance of Markelle Fultz, You might as well do it with Cole Anthony too, and just I don't see why not. I like the risk taking here by the Magic.
Me too.
Philly.
I gave him a B. I love Tyrese Maxey, really do. But the big thing for me is no more Horford. He's gone, and I'm worried about the fit with Tyrese Maxey. He's doing anything. He's not the best shooter in the world. I see him as more of a ball dominant player.
He's a pretty good shooter.
Not the best shooter in the world.
Yeah.
He's decent.
He's a good shooter.
Decent.
He's a good scorer.
But I think I would like to see more of a shooting pick here, just with Ben Simmons on the roster.
This was one of my 2 A pluses.
Really?
The Philadelphia 76ers. I gave him an A plus. And one, because I think Maxey at 21 is a fantastic pick, but if that would have been the only thing that they did, I probably would have gave him like a B plus. Just because it's just the one pick. But I gave them an A plus simply because of 2 things. Seth Curry and Danny Green. They trade for Seth Curry, they trade for Danny Green, and they get off of Al Horford with giving up 1 first-round pick to get rid of Al Horford.
And we thought we were going to have to use a lot more.
I thought you were going to have to give up a lot. I gave them an A plus for that. I mean, getting off of Horford's contract and getting Seth Curry, one of the best role player shooters in the league. Danny Green, I know he wasn't that good, but I mean, he can still shoot the ball pretty, he'll still knock down shots. Daryl Morey, man, already making an impact in Philly. I love it. A plus for Philly.
Phoenix Suns, D minus. I don't like Jalen Smith. They needed Vessel or Nesmith at that pick, and they didn't get him. I don't think Vessel.
I gave Phoenix a D. The only grade I have lower than a C minus in the D range on here. Jalen Smith is cool.
He is my only D too. Oh no, Bulls.
Not at 10 though. I mean, it doesn't really fit because Jalen Smith is like a 4/5, and like I say, if you can't shoot, then you're a 5 in my eyes. And you're picking at pick 10 to draft Ayton when you could have got Devin Vassell, a guy who just fits them better. I think
3 and D.
I think they really just needed. I mean, Obi Toppin would have been perfect here for Phoenix, but he obviously didn't fall there. But getting a guy who could play the 3 or 4 would have been ideal in my eyes.
Portland Trailblazers, C minus. They got Rocco.
I gave him a B minus. I think them getting Rocco was better than anything they could have gotten at 16, just because if it's what they're trying to win now, and there's nothing at 16 that would have been better than Robert Covington. So,
Sacramento Kings B plus. They got Tyrese Halliburton at 12. What a great pickup. I don't know much about their other draft picks.
I gave him that's my second A plus, man. The Sacramento Kings getting Tyrese Halliburton at 12. Awesome pickup for them. And then their 2 second-round picks, I really like. Robert Woodard, the second, at 40. A great scorer. He's a versatile player. And then Jamis Ramsey out of Texas Tech at 43, a guy who was really good in his 1 year at Texas Tech last year.
I don't know much about those 2 guys.
Ramsey's a really athletic wing player that can defend. He is a ball dominant player. At least a good ball handler. Shooting obviously is a little of a question for a guy like him, but that's something that you can develop. I really like Sacramento's pick though with Halliburton at 12. That getting him next to De'Aaron Fox. A lot of people say they don't like it. Oh, De'Aaron Fox got paid, by the way. Forgot to say that.
100 something mil.
Crap ton of money. I mean, super max. But yeah, Jamis Ramsey. I like that in the second round as well.
San Antonio Spurs. I gave him a B. I love Vassell and Trey Jones. Don't get me wrong, but I don't know. I think Trey Jones was a great pickup. He was at one point a lottery.
He's such a Spurs guy too.
He, at one point was a lottery pick. He's a great defender. I don't think
he was ever a lottery though.
He was like
a first, maybe out of high school, maybe.
I mean, he was like a top 10
But he
player.
played 2 years in college though.
Yeah,
so.
I guess.
I gave him a B plus. I like Vassell and Trey Jones. Yeah, they both just fit the Spurs play style. So yeah, that's pretty much it.
Toronto Raptors. I have this is the only one I didn't give a grade to because I don't know anything about either one of their picks.
I gave him a C, just average. I mean, Malachi Flynn, at 29, don't know much about him. And then Jalen Harris, never even heard of him at 59. I gave him a C just because I don't really know much about Malachi Flynn. I've heard about him, don't know a lot about him.
The Raptors do make good draft picks.
Yeah, they do.
Have a really good history.
They do, especially with like the late 20s. Siakam.
OG? When was he drafted?
He was late too.
Fred VanVleet was probably second round.
Fred VanVleet was undrafted, yeah.
Utah Jazz. C. I like Udoka Azubuike a lot. But it's just a pick.
I gave him a C+. I like Azubuike as well, but you traded Tony Bradley to pretty much say Azubuike is going to be your backup center now, which is a risky move. For a 27th pick in the draft to just give him the keys is a little risky, so I gave him a C+.
Washington Wizards, even though I've said on here that I'm not a big Denny Avdija, I'm not sold on Denny Avdija yet. B+, he still fell to them. At some point they had to take him because Denny Avdija at one point was the 4th overall pick to the Bulls, in a lot of people's eyes. So I like that pick a lot. I thought it worked really well. And since he fell, how can you not take him at that point?
Yeah, I gave him an A-. Denny Avdija at 9. And then they get Cassius Winston at 53, which I still think, non-biased opinion, I really do think that Cassius Winston is going to be a long player. I think he's going to play for a long time in the NBA and is going to be a good role player. And if John Wall gets traded, hopefully Cassius Winston starts. So do you want to react to our mock draft we did a while back?
Yeah, I'm trying to find.
Let me find. It had to have been like a while ago.
Are you saying like
probably
33?
33. I was just on 32.
The very first one I ever wrote down, actually.
No way. So let's go through it. And so pretty much the lottery is the exact same because there was no trades in a draft that I thought there was going to be the most trades in. So pick one. I had Anthony Edwards going to pick one.
I did as well.
Yep, so we both got that right. Even though, this was back, this was just what we thought was going to happen. Pick 2, Golden State, I had James Wiseman.
I had James Wiseman.
Nice. Pick 3, I had LaMelo Ball to the Charlotte Hornets.
See, I had Obi Toppin there.
Really? At pick 3, yeah, that's tough. So I'm 3 for 3 so far. Pick 4, though, I did have Danny Avdija going to the Chicago Bulls.
Pick 4, I had Melo Ball.
Melo Ball, okay. Oh, yeah, I forgot about that. You had him, yeah.
Yep.
Cleveland, I got that right. I had Isaac Okoro going to Cleveland.
I had Onyeka Okongwu.
Nice. I'm doing pretty
You're
good
doing
so far.
really good.
I had Tyrese Halliburton, though, at pick 6,
Me
which
too.
obviously did not happen. Pick 7, though, I did have Killian Hayes going to the Detroit Pistons.
I had Denny Avdija.
Yeah, which I would have loved. New York Knicks, I had Devin Vassell. That obviously didn't happen, but yeah, I had Obi Toppin falling in this draft for some reason.
I had Killian Hayes at number 8. Well, Obi Toppin fell in the real draft.
Yeah, but I have him falling even lower, though. Onyeka Okongwu, I had going 9 to the Washington Wizards, which didn't happen, obviously.
Devin Vassell, who really fell quite a bit.
Two more spots. And then 10, I had Obi Toppin in the Phoenix Suns, which I would have loved if that would have happened. So that
10,
didn't happen.
I had Isaac Okoro, which I still think
Yeah,
fits
that fell.
for them.
That fell a lot.
But Cam Johnson and Mikal Bridges, so
Yeah.
they
11
have
to the
that.
Spurs. I had Sadiq Bey going to the Spurs at 11. So I'm happy the Pistons got him because I was pretty high on him.
I had Tyrese Maxey going to the Spurs.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. 12, I had Aaron Nesmith going to the Sacramento Kings, which he ended up going pick 14. So that was kind of close.
12, I had Precious Achua
Yep.
going to the Kings.
13, I had Cole Anthony going to the New Orleans Pelicans, which they ended up taking Kyra Lewis, and I'm pretty sure I almost picked them.
13, I had Patrick Williams going to the Pels.
Really?
At 13.
Yeah. 14, I had Patrick Williams going to Boston, and he ended up going 4. So I was 10 spot. At least we both had him in the lottery, right?
Yeah, right. Good pick, Bulls.
Yeah.
14, Jaden McDaniels. I don't know why.
So I got 1, 2, 3. I got picks 1, 2, and 3, 5, 7 right. I got 5 picks correct.
I only got 2. I only got the top 2.
And then my out of lottery guys that I said I liked were R.J. Hampton, Kyra Lewis Jr., Tyrell Terry, and Precious Achua.
See, I had RJ, Josh Green, Cole Anthony, Nico, and Theo Malin.
And these were guys, I wrote down these guys that I thought were going to be when I say out of lottery, I meant guys who would be
Near.
shortly after the lottery, not second. And Tyrell Terry's on there, and he ended up going in the second round, so that's kind of nuts. But yeah, does that pretty much wrap it up? This is a longer episode, but it's free agency, and like I said, there's probably going to be a lot of things that happen shortly after this podcast. So we're going to try to get it out as soon as possible.
Yep.
But yeah, we're going to have an update on Wednesday because free agency will be close to over. It won't be over yet, but it'll be
nearing
towards
the end.
end. So yeah,
That's all.
that's all.
Peace.
Peace.